Kia ora e te whānau, welcome to Creative Mornings, our July edition. Lucy, our wonderful volunteer, is going to come care for us today. So thank you, Lucy. Atu e te whānau. Kia kariki e tātou. E rangi e papa tue te ai o nuku, tue te ai o rangi. Kia putai tēnei taura, kia putai tēnei taura. Ki te tahatu, ki te taha wātea, korau noa, korau ora, uie tai ki e. Kia ora. Ngā mihi I te kariki e Lucy. Kia ora. I'll get everyone just to, if you can, if you're able, to stand up for me for a moment. Shake it out. If you're not holding coffee, please don't drop those coffees. If this is, so if you've been to a Creative Mornings Wellington before, can I get you to sit down? Ooh. If you've been to a Creative Mornings anywhere before, can you sit down? Are you a Brisbane organiser? One of you? Hi.
Not organiser, just
hi Brisbane. Let's have a chat afterwards. So I guess all of you folks here are brand new to Creative Mornings.
Yeah.
Big round of applause for our new friends. Okay, you can all sit down. For those of you who have not met me, my name is Christine and I'm one of the co-hosts for Creative Mornings Wellington. So this month our global theme is trust, and the lovely Claire, my co-host, is going to read the little synopsis for you folks. I'm going to give her that. Kia ora. She hasn't got your gun.
So trust is the invisible thread that weaves the fabric of our relationships and society together. But in turbulent times, doubt can unravel our strengths. So go with your gut. Put your trust in a higher power, in our institutions, and in karma. Believe that people will do the right thing. Trust the process, and that your creativity is a well that will never run dry. When we trust each other, we feel safe to share ideas, give feedback, and take risks. It requires vulnerability and a willingness to be open to the possibility of disappointment or betrayal. So trust is not purely belief or faith, it is an active choice. Trust is a gift. It must be given before it can be earned. Thank you.
Awesome. So for those of you who are new or would just like a refresher, Creative Mornings is all around the world. We have 238 chapters or cities, one of which is Brisbane in Australia. Across 69 countries. I feel like that number deliberately hasn't changed for a very long time. 27,000 attendees per month across the world, so that's an incredible number of people are involved. They also do online talks, so 12,014 online talks, and 13.7 million video views. So the lovely Andy here is today to record our session, and we upload that for people to watch all around the world as well. So yay for being part of a global community. Thank you to 257, hi Jules, for providing this beautiful space. Our guest photographer today is Ricky, who I actually get the pleasure of working with quite often with my day job. So thanks you, Ricky, for showing up today and shooting some beautiful shots. Andy at Hype Entertainment is, as I said, videoing our event today, and sometimes we have Ethan here to help out too. Six Barrel Soda, thank you for our wonderful speaker gift. And we've got Libertine Teas and Coffee Supreme every month to caffeinate you, alongside the all good oat milk. Colourcraft for our new labels. Do you notice that they're staying adhered to your chests today? They are new. Woo! Bad Baker for our cookies, and 40 Thieves for the peanut butter. And then we've got some special kind of just this month sponsors. So the Good for Whole Foods Refillery. There's little 10% off vouchers around the room out there. So if you enjoyed their muesli today, feel free to grab one. Thank you Raglan Food Company for the delicious yogurt, the coconut yogurt. And then Wonky Food Box for the delicious fruit. None of that seems particularly wonky. It all seems and of course, shout out to our amazing volunteers. So they make your breakfast, they make your coffee, they do stuff throughout the month as well, including sort of social media and all that sort of jazz. And the hosts cannot do it without you. So thank you. Big round of applause for our volunteers. Awesome. And if you haven't already, follow us on the social media. We've got Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we've started putting events on Facebook and LinkedIn. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce to the stage our wonderful speaker for this month, Vanessa Stacey. Big round of applause!
I'll just put this one down. I'll hold it dangerously close to all of the appliance plugs. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Vanessa Stacey tuku ingoa. Kia ora everybody, my name's Vanessa Stacey. Thank you so much for inviting me along today to speak at Creative Mornings. Ironically, most of my creativity seems to happen in the evening, so like a lot of artists. Let's see how creative I can be this morning with my mouth. I was invited along today by the wonderful Amy, who I've had the pleasure of working with several times in different iterations. They, much like a lot of the amazing team, are an incredible illustrator and designer and multi-talented artist. Beautiful singer, actor. So, kia ora, Amy, for inviting me along today.
She's too busy with all of her shows.
I know,
Too
busy being awesome.
Too busy being in the theatre.
Yes, in the theatre. I thought today I would talk about the provocation and how that has had an impact on my practice as an artist and as a festival director and katiaki for Ngā Toi and Indigenous artists through Kupadupa. So my name's Vanessa Stacey. I have been an artist all of my life. I don't think a practice begins when you have artistic tendencies. They happen to you quite early. And I was very blessed to be raised by two remarkable artists in their own right who got married and had children and really had to set their dreams aside to pay a mortgage and still following direction, to pay a mortgage and to raise two children. So I'd like to taitoko both of my mother and father for unequivocally when I said I want to be Madonna. And then Janet Jackson, because I got steez and stuff. For going, sure babes, that's great. And my father also had the good sense to go, maybe get a trade first before you go to drama school. So thanks, Dad, for that wisdom. So I started my practice as an artist, and I think it's important to note that it's called practice because it's continuous, yeah? So there's no destination as an artist that is bestowed upon you by other people, much like fame or all those uncomfortable byproducts of doing something that you love well. I personally find that uncomfortable. Like a lot of people in the room who also are artists, I am an introvert, extrovert, so as much as I feel comfortable chatting to you this morning, I am also far more comfortable sitting at home reading a book, or editing a film, or writing a play, or writing a song. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my practice and how fundamental trust has been in that space. For me, I don't think trust is just about a creative process. I think trust, as you so beautifully put, Claire, is fundamental for humanity. I think it is the thread that binds us or separates us, yeah? So, be that in the powers that be that we appoint, we have to, or not appoint in some cases. Let's not fall down that segue. But we have to trust that they will do what they have said they're going to do, and they certainly are. And we have to trust that when we have our say, it's going to be heard, and that it's going to resonate with people who have been bestowed with this trust. Yeah. So for me as an artist, as I say, when I said to my family I wanted to focus on being I'm a multidisciplinary artist, so I'm a theatre maker, actor, a writer, a producer, a director. I'm also a musician and a filmmaker. So just really probably just undiagnosed ADHD, if I'm honest. Just wanted to give everything a go. And I had to trust that I would find my feet as an artist, yeah, and find people to collaborate with, or people that I trust enough to go, this is an idea of this, and without them going, that's a really stupid idea. Sometimes that happens. It's the joy of collaboration. But to trust that I would also be able to make a pathway as an artist. That's foundationally for a lot of us. It's, as the cost of living rises, fees for gigs don't, and nor do a lot of ticket prices for events. So trusting that what you have will resonate with people. I mean, I always say it's as an artist, it's foundationally in the fact that we have to trust the process, and it is a process when making something. Yeah, and a lot of that time, that process happens individually and solely by yourself. So then there is that moment of trust of showing people, and I haven't had children, but I equate it to showing someone your pants, or something that makes you feel inevitably uncomfortable, but you have to trust that they will be a safe space for you to share your ambitions with. I'm very fortunate to have some remarkable artists in the house this morning that have trusted me in the past when I've laid down a wedu for them and a challenge in my role as the director of New Zealand Fringe. And not only did they pick up the wedu, they ran with it and made extraordinary work, which I'm immensely proud of them for. And I know that has changed their practice a lot too, which is exciting and we love. Because that's really the kaupapa, yeah? I began my practice as an artist. I graduated from school and I started, I graduated early because I was, I think, just a know-it-all, and Marion wanted me out. So they put me forward a year, and I started university when I was 17. And I went to Canterbury University. I wanted to become a criminal psychologist because I find humans and human behaviour fascinating and also immensely disturbing. And, so I wanted to understand why people do the things they do and what provokes that, or what foundationary things have happened, that what patterns there may be in human conditioning. So I started and then I thought, I'm just going to be an actor. No, I did my first year, and I think at 17 I was a lot younger than a lot of people. I didn't kind of find my people at university. I was a bit young and probably a little bit intimidated by all these cool kids that were all hanging out and getting wasted and doing lots of all the fun things that you meant to do at university, but I just wasn't quite there. I was a bit of a nerdy drama kid. So I ended up going to Hagley Theatre Company, and where I got a 2-year diploma in theatre performance and then a directing internship. And at the same time I also did I started my jazz certificate in jazz at jazz school at CPT down in Canterbury. So that sort of set me on the journey of being an artist, and then I came to Wellington with my partner at the time, and he was a Toi Whakaari student. I'd gotten into drama school when I was 19, and I was honest with them, and at the time you had to be 20. But I trusted that if I was honest with them and said, I don't turn 20 until August, that they would go, oh, well, you've already got in, so that's all good, bub. Come on through. They didn't. they went, okay, well maybe you should apply again next year. And I was like, and so went on this big, I was like, whatever, I don't even go to drama school, whatever, whoever. And then my partner got in. He was also 19, he lied. Which was a really big lesson for me. Yeah? Not to lie. To stop dating that person. That lesson came later, unfortunately. No, it was a big lesson for me that that people trust you. Yeah? And so it became a really foundational space for me as to whether or not, of the choices of the person I wanted to be. I didn't want to... Firstly, my mother gave me some sage advice when I was about 17 and was caught singing in a band at a nightclub. She said to me, you're not a good liar, Vanessa, you don't have a good memory, so don't bother. And she was right. I can remember an entire play of Shakespeare, but I can't remember what I had told my mother that I was doing on Thursday night when I was singing at the Palladium with the band. But she's quite right, and I didn't. So that was, as I say, a foundational moment for me to realise that I think life's all about choices. And I made the choice back then that I didn't want to be that person. I was happy to stand on my own feet and be honest with people and tell them, you know, that I didn't know to go to drama school, that's fine, whatever. Anyway, 2 years later, after working in Wellington, and I was enticed back to applying for drama school, then found myself in the position, in my third year and graduating year, I was offered core cast in a television show called The Tribe, which at the time, and for quite some time, I found immensely embarrassing. Yeah, that's right. A lot of people, I call it the HPV of TV. Shit's not going anywhere. 25 years after that show, I still daily, and I'm not exaggerating, daily I will have messages on Instagram from fans. It's bizarre. And it never ceases to amaze me the questions they ask me, like, what's Bray doing? I'm like, they're not a person. And you know, but I think the show was aimed for teenagers, and it really hit its target audience, became a cult hit all over the world. Still don't. Anyway, I describe it as Mad Max meets Home and Away. Pretty much. And I was lucky that as a graduate drama school student, they would pretty much entrust me when they gave me the lines that I could just change them. And I did that constantly, and my character was quite beloved, which was fortunate. And I wish I'd known that when I negotiated my contract with them, and I would have asked for more money. But that was another sense of trust. I was in my last year at drama school. They had asked me to join the cast, and it meant leaving my degree to take a punt. But when you have wonderful tutors like Miranda Harcourt ringing me and saying, go for it, run like the wind, you're bored shitless here, go Vanessa, go. I trusted the process, and I was like, this is what I've been training to do. This gives me the opportunity to be in a television show that's quite successful around the world. I had always had the intentions to move to the UK and pursue performing over there, and I'm a jazz musician, so I wanted to go to Rock Scots, all these things. So I took a punt, and I left before I finished my degree, which thankfully I've since been. The thing is, the secret is when you start getting work, Twiff Gully's like, oh no, she's stars. Yeah. That's great. That's great. That's great. I was like, woo! Didn't have to do the graduation piece. But, so I took that punt, and I trusted that I was going to learn more in the process of actually making work than sitting around and talking about the theory of making work. And it was what happened. So in the second year as core cast, I negotiated that I wanted to come back as second unit director. I was 23 at the time. I was like, know the process of being an actor on this show. It was like a soap opera. It was also the fastest turnaround television in the world at that time. So they loved the idea because, of course, no one knew the show better than the cast. And so I got to do my first directing for fast turnaround television, directing the really exciting things, like out. Second unit tends to go out to the field and do stunts, which was crazy. And they were stupid enough to trust me doing that. And also I had these amazing crew who because I was one of the only adults in the cast, I spent all my time with the technicians because that's what fascinated me. I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I learned literally in the field, often by making mistakes or getting it wrong or being too optimistic or taking a punt. Again, I had to trust that inevitably someone was going to go, that's not going to work, Vanessa, or that it would work. And as far as art practice goes, again, foundationally, yeah? You have to, it's all trial and error, and often a lot of error. But if you don't try, you don't know, yeah? So off the back of that, I was invited over to the UK. I went over to the UK and worked for Channel 5 hosting television. Again, I was hosting live television and they'd asked me if I'd ever worked with it in air, and I was like, absolutely! I had on stage with music but never presenting live television. So I found myself in awkward positions where I had live television links and then audience members, and I was saying, this is so-and-so, and they were going, this is 5 seconds to Harry and Kosh, when someone's talking in my head. And I go, and thank you so much, Harry! And everyone's like, this kid's name Oliver. So, trial and error, trial and error. But I trusted myself enough to give it a go, yeah? And I was really fortunate over there to find a group of like-minded artists, and we started making youth content for Channel 5. Because the youth content that I had been involved in, or that they were currently showing, was a little bit, a little bit risky. The tribe being, point in case. So it was really exciting to be making content and to be directing and producing stuff. Half of my draw of coming home is that I wanted to be a full-time artist, and I wanted to make music, and all the musicians that I loved collaborating with were still in New Zealand. And again, I'd been fortunate enough through being in the right place at the right time to I got to sing at Glastonbury with a band that was like similar to Freddie's in the sense that we had a DJ dropping the beats and a collaboration of musicians playing over, and so we got to play in the Splendid, which was awesome. Again, at the time, just was another thing that I was doing, and I sort of went along because I trusted that it would happen, Again, I came home trusting that there would be an industry in the time that I had been away. I'd been involved in the voice overs for Lord of the Ring when I was very young, because I could see turnip and all their nice turnip sounds into a good vaguely generic West Yorkshire's accent. But I found myself in a space with all these remarkable older actors that I had sort of grown up seeing on television, and I think that's a huge part of the process of trusting the people that you're in the presence of, as well as when you're finding your feet as an artist as well. Trusting a space and trusting your collaborators. And let's be honest, it's really hard when you, as I've referred to before, showing someone your pants, or awkwardly showing someone your musings, or your writing, or your songs. Like, I feel like art is a conversation, right? And I can sit at home and talk to myself all I like, but until I share that with someone, it hasn't had its full fruition. So they don't necessarily have to respond, like many conversations I have with people, they don't get a chance to. But it's a conversation, yeah? And I never know personally if a song works until I sing it to people, or until I play it for people. because immediately I will know if that makes me feel uncomfortable, which is usually, again, trusting your gut. My gut, which thankfully I have plenty of, will always tell me if it feels right or not. And so even if someone, because I had some really sage advice early in my practice, which was people will tell you one of three things. They will tell you they love it, they will tell you they hate it, or they will lie. And it's true. They will either go, oh, that's great, because they know that you're showing them your pants and you feel nervous, so they'll go, no, that's great, I love it, I love it, I love it. You know, and that's okay. When I make stuff for people, I make it for me, fundamentally, because it's my practice, and that's my process, and it's great when some people like it, and I figure if I like it, inevitably I will find an audience, yeah? That has to be the basis for your practice, I believe. And that, I've talked a lot so far about trusting external sources, yeah? I think foundationally, it's about trusting your own instincts and trusting your own gut, which Claire so beautifully pointed at the beginning of this conversation. I have since had another 20-year practice of working. I also trusted when I came back to New Zealand. I started the internship up at to get to direct Shortland Street. Hated it. So directing traffic. Didn't want to do it. I like working with actors. So my agent at the time was like, move to Auckland. There's going to be so much more work as a director or as an actor, and they were absolutely right. And I was like, no, I'm going to live in Wellington because there's a great music scene down here. I'm not solely an actor and a director. I want to write music. So I trusted myself to come back and base myself in Wellington. I've been fortunate. I've had lots of acting work in both television and film. I've got a film coming out next Thursday called Bookworm, which is very exciting, where I won't tell you what I get to do, but I get to play a bad guy. Yes, they're always so much more fun. Yeah, it's my villain era. Yes, it's post-40s. Yes! As a female artist, you either become stagnant and unemployable, because I think the industry refers you to unfuckable. Thankfully, that has never been my, I've never been in the throes of playing the leading lady anyway. I'm the fat friend. The Fat Valley friend, or now the villain. I'm in my villain era. I'm taking it. So I got to work with the amazing Elijah Wood again, and Now Fisher, who is about to be launched into Stratosphere. They've just been announced as core cast on Stranger Things, so I'm so delighted for Nell. They're a remarkable young actor, and whose parents entrusted us with their 11-year-old, who's the core of the film. So check that out. Anyway, it comes out next year. Anyway, so next week. So I have worked, as I say, for years in many different facets in the creative industries. I've worked a lot in arts education. I'm a passionate arts advocate. So when I was approached about the opportunity to come and be the director of the New Zealand Fringe Festival. New Zealand Fringe is where I took my first steps as an artist. After graduating Toi Whakaari and doing the first season of The Tribe, I was like, I'm a real actor. So I wanted to put my first written show on. So I've probably written 6 plays, and a lot of them are monologue based, because I quite like playing multiple characters as well. It's undiagnosed ADHD. Anyway, when this opportunity was presented to me, I'd worked with the team who were fantastic, and but I saw a lot of holes in the festival. And as a multidisciplinary artist, I was like, I wanted to make more space for more disciplines. Be that when it came to venues, but more platforms for more visual arts. It was very theatre and queer-centric, which is awesome, but also a given with fringe festivals. So, and more concerningly, as a multidisciplinary artist, the inclusion was 3%, and that was not okay with me. And I think the festival had grown organically, but it needed a bit of a kick up the arse, really. So when I was first approached about whether or not I'd be interested in applying, I sent like a 2-page response of all the things that I thought were wrong with it.
Oh my, doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Because at the time I was playing Mrs. Lovett, and which was also about trust. That was a huge role to take on, which I loved. It was awesome. I ate all the pies, if you're asking. So I got to play Mrs. Lovett at the time for Sweeney Todd. And when I was approached about the job, and I literally was finishing the show on the Sunday, and they wanted me to apply on the Sunday night, and I was like, no. And so then they just said, when I sent them my 2-page email about what I thought was wrong with the festival and needed to be fixed, Drew James responded, well, it sounds like you have a real vision. Shit. And he was right, I did. And I had a real passion for coming in and creating space for more artists. I'm super proud of the team that we've put together for the festival. This has been my... I was either mad enough or stupid enough to take the festival on before the year. I came in and had big plans, and then had to pivot very quickly again. This was based in trust when the government announced that we were going to go into red for the entire season of my first Fringe Festival. My first reaction was to contact our artists immediately and say, this is far more of an impact on you than it is for our team. Will you trust us to give you safe passage and create a safe space for you to present your work? Because this is our job, this is our mahi, we want to be this. We had 2 shows pull out, but that was for their own health concerns because they were vulnerable, and we totally supported them through that. The rest of the festival went ahead at 50% capacities and was still a record year for the festival. I'm immensely proud in the last 2 years, last year and this year as well. Last year we doubled the income of the most successful Fringe festival to date because the community came back in force to support us. They trusted us enough that we had been able to support our artists through the hardest year, and they came back and forced to support our artists back, which was I'm hugely grateful for. This year, we had another record year. So the New Zealand Fringe Festival is the biggest arts festival in New Zealand. So this year we also presented, these are some sexy stats for you, I don't know, I love a stat, me. So initially we had 250, I was freaking out because we didn't have enough venue. We had 250 registers. Again, I had to just trust it's going to be okay. And I'm really good at getting out and hitting the floor and asking people for things. And just saying, trust me, we'll create a great space, a safe space. Having fantastic team members, wonderful people running venues who are creating safe spaces for our artists. This year we also had 22 international arts festival. We had 8 shows from international artists. Just saying. Also get $5 million. Anywho, what about arts advocacy? I like putting money into the local economy, into our local artists' pockets. Last year, with the help of MCH, the Ministry of Culture and Heritage, we had also managed to bring a whopping $500,000 into the Fringe to be able to support things like our first ever national. We have 4 international awards that send our artists to Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney and San Diego Fringe. And I was like, we have a Fringe circuit in New Zealand. Why are we not providing a pathway for our artists in New Zealand to make money, basically, so they can afford to go international? It didn't make sense to me. So we advocated for that, and CCAT, which is Creative Capital Arts Trust, which I'm one of the directors of, applied for 7 different streams. We augmented our artists. Oh, right. I might come back to this if that's okay. Oh, no. Oh, I can do that. Stop it. Nothing. You might go. Sorry.
Would you like to go?
I might go forward to.
You want to go forward?
Yeah, thank you to our artists.
Oh, it's really keen on the.
Oh, it's so keen. Oh, let's just watch
What's
it.
the bit?
Anyway, this is awesome. This is this year's rap video. No Kendrick, no beef, no Drake. So as I say, we hosted this year over 900 artists. A lot of those, 22 of those productions had come from overseas. So they trust us to come here and be supported and to find a safe space to present their work. This year we've also been able to augment our artist capabilities or development program. This is a huge part of the Fringe and a huge thing I'm really passionate about, is upskilling artists. We have a lot of emerging artists at our festival, a lot of them coming out not even knowing how to write an invoice. What are we doing in our tertiary education? We're focusing on the craft. So our job, as far as I'm concerned, is to create a safe space to educate our artists in their practice, not just the implementation of their craft, but the business of being an artist. So we have an amazing array of industry professionals who come in and impart their knowledge and do lots of awesome workshops. All of these workshops are free to registered artists, and this year we've opened them up to the public. So we had over 300 artists come to these 24 workshops over the last, oh, these are marketing exciting things. Apparently TikTok's a thing, whatevs. No, I'm joking. My team are very excited about the TikTok memes and all the little videos. This is the thing that I'm most proud of. The fact that 95% of our audience surveyed tell us that Fringe makes them proud to be Porniki based. We have huge amount of funding, well not a huge amount of funding, $290,000 worth of funding from the Wellington City Council. When you think of we're supporting 900 artists, that's not a lot of money. So to have been able to raise an additional $190,000 to fund our artists a living wage to make work, woo, revolutionary. Who knew paying people to actually do the mahi would be exciting? I knew. So this year, the calibre of the work was outstanding as well. I have also been fortunate enough to work with a lot of amazing practitioners, and so being able to invite people like Brett McKenzie back and legacy Fringe artists who started their practice at the festival, to be able to invite them back with Porniki Savage Club and all these amazing artists to present work that emerging artists come up and say, oh, that's the bar, right? That's what we're aiming for. I want our artists to be aspirational. I want them to develop their mahi and to trust us that we will give them a safe space, that they can be innovative, that they can be fresh and they can be brave. That is the kaupapa of Fringe. All over the world, yeah? I'm about to take off in 2 weeks to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival because I have a plan. As I say, we have these awards Also foundationary in an artist practice. Nearly every artist of note that you could name off the television, a lot of them comics, because let's be honest, that seems to be the easiest way to get note in New Zealand, because we're making a lot of that kind of television. All of these artists have come through New Zealand Fringe at one place or stage or another. It is a stepping stone for a lot of people's career, as are these awards. These awards would not be possible without our amazing sponsors who trust us to pick these amazing talents who will be representing them. As I say, I'm off to Edinburgh very shortly because we currently have 4 international Fringe awards. What an amazing opportunity to send talent overseas, which brings me to the conversation I had about inclusion. In the last 2 years, I'm immensely proud of the fact that we've presented the most inclusive and diverse festival ever for New Zealand Fringe. We've managed to get our inclusion of Pacifica and Māori up to 26% this year. Woo! For me, one of the most unique things that we have to share with the world is our individuality and our space. So if that voice isn't included in the conversation, why are we even here? Anyway, my plan when I go over to Edinburgh this year is to talk to Edinburgh, which I have to get to the heart to because it's a massive juggernaut of festival which is quite siloed into venues. But I'd like to talk to them about an Edinburgh Fringe Award for our artists. But more importantly, I'd like to talk to the House of Oz, who have a huge footprint in Edinburgh, about a New Zealand showcase, because I think that's the most practical thing that we could do for our artists. To have a larger country who have far more money than we do supported in the arts, to give us a showcase where our artists who have made their own way over to Edinburgh and taken that punt, have trusted the process, have gone over there and have trusted the venue that they're in the right space, that we can have a showcase for them. Give us one, I'd like a weekend, but I'm happy to start with one night of a space where we can showcase all of our shows. That's my plan. So wish me luck. Now I get emotional because my team are extraordinary, and I could not do what I do without them. We're really fortunate. Our new CE at Creative Capital Arts Trust, Kim Bailey, shout out to Kim, she's having a much needed holiday at the moment. Kim has been CE in everything but title for the last 3 years since I've been there. They are also an artist. CCAT is artist-led and artist-first. Our kaupapa, we produce the New Zealand Fringe Festival, about to go into our 35th year. We also produce Cuba Duper, and we produce Classical on Cuba Street. The Trust, again, is a non-for-profit. So all the money that we raise, and it's hard work. That's the slog of working in the arts, and it's about to get harder. We are finding ourselves will be going from rich to famine this year because I managed to secure more funding than historically ever before last year. That's all changed. We all know why. Any funding that we raise, it goes towards paying my small but incredibly dedicated team who just throw all their heart and soul into the festival, and supporting our artists to produce extraordinary, innovative and fresh work. So that is what our trust does. We are artist first, artist led. So these are my beautiful team. These are foundationary team members. This is a wonderful Kim Bailey here, who is 34-year-old CE. Whoop, whoop. Yes, one of the hardest working people I've ever met. Also is game enough when I say, Kim, I've got this idea, and I have a lot of them. Undiagnosed ADHD. Goes, awesome! And she's amazing, and I'm very indebted to her, and I couldn't be prouder to work alongside her. We have just appointed a new, very exciting director of Cuba Duper, another young, extraordinary person who it's not been announced yet, so it's okay, Kim, trust me. But I'm very excited for the forward motion of Creative Capital Arts Trust. I'm also really excited to taituku the I am the katiaki of the Ngātoi stage at Cupa Dupa and all the Indigenous artists as well. So that's again about creating space for language and Indigenous language of all cultures. Just create a space that these languages are taonga and they need to be protected and not sorry, I just said it. So it's a really amazing space to be in. I know that I've been entrusted with a huge platform, and I couldn't be prouder of the team that I have managed to put together. The hardest thing with this role is every year we rebuild the team. Thankfully, in the last 3 years, the team have come back because they're having a great time, and there's nothing more rewarding for other artists, and each one of these team members are an artist. So to have artists leading and creating safe space for other artists, much like the team who create this space here for us now, is fundamental. Because why? Because we trust each other. Because we trust the process for this person, we know the process, and so we get it. I mean, everyone's process is slightly different, but again, foundationally, yeah? So, and as I say, we're about to go into our 35th year of New Zealand Fringe, which is huge. We're only a year younger than the International Arts Festival. As I say, we're 22 International. No, I'm joking, Tuffety. Much love to the wonderful team over there. Oh, my dear. But you know, I'm just immensely proud of the mahi that we get to do, and I'm proud of what's to come. Again, we're in a really interesting space that we have, CNZ have changed funding template a lot. So we are no longer able to apply for funding for individual festivals. We have to apply as a trust, which is immensely complicated, as you can imagine, when we produce two of the largest festivals in New Zealand. So that funding has been cut in half for us, if we get it. So you want to talk about trust. I also will find that out on my birthday this year, the 7th of August. Good one. So hopefully I'll be celebrating on my birthday, or be commiserating and packing lunches for me to take to Edinburgh, because I'll be surviving on 2-minute noodles. Hey, I've been at Toi Whakaari, I've been a student, something I've done before. But shall we open up to any... Sorry, I've just kept yarning. I was like, I have nothing to talk about, and then blah.
We've gone a little bit over time.
Oh, okay.
But so I just want to acknowledge that some people do have to go to work.
Yes, of course.
And so if you do need to go now, absolutely fine. However, if you'd like to stay and have a yarn and ask some questions, absolutely fine. I'm sitting here. I'm staying here. Yeah. But if you have to go,
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. See you guys. Thank you. Sorry.
Not a worry. I didn't want to be like
Blah blah blah.
but yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free, or we can kind of just like, if
Pleasure.
people want to start leaving, we can kind of like stand and just have a
mingle.
whatever
mingle.
works. Yeah. Any questions for
I
Vanessa?
have a question.
Yes.
You talked about that those workshops you do that are available for the public
Yes.
as well nowadays. So how do we hear about that?
If you go onto the Facebook page for New Zealand Fringe, every one of them we create an event for, so it's public, in the public domain, and you're very welcome to come. Most of them are based at Te Awaha, which is a fantastic creative educational space in Dixon Street, and we tend to do them on Tuesday evenings because it seems to be less traffic for a lot of artists on a Tuesday around 6 o'clock. As I say, they're different some of them are more business based or marketing or budgeting or, you know, more practical based, and some of them are creative labs. So please keep an eye out, you're very welcome to come along.
Yes.
Any other questions? Kia ora.
Do you have any advice for a student who's currently studying in like a creative industry?
I've got lots of advice. What are you studying?
VCD, like visual communication.
Amazing.
Maths.
Are you at Massey by any chance? Great. I would have been teaching you if I hadn't have. So I helped helped develop the creative processes paper, and which is basically a taster in the first year before you decide your elect and what you want to focus on. So I probably would have been teaching you. Could you be more specific about how to begin your practice, or
How I what, sorry?
what advice were you hoping for?
Sort of going into the industry, like
Right.
just how uncertain it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, today's theme is trust. I think you have to trust your own skills and your own talent base, and also don't take no for an answer. I hate the word because I'm so bored of hearing it over the last 4 years, but being an artist is about tenacity as well, and just knowing that you have something to offer. So find your people, find your clan, find your tribe of like-minded creatives who will support your practice, whether it may not be able to financially support your practice, but I can't reiterate enough, just because you have to get a job to pay your rent doesn't make you less of an artist. You know, I think people have this fallacy that you have to be making money from your practice to be considered a real artist. That's just not true. Some of the most brilliant artists I've ever heard or ever seen or ever read will probably never be seen publicly because they make their work for themselves. You know what I mean? So, and I would also talk to you about reevaluating your idea of success, because I think we live in a world where success is based on financial gain, and that's just not true when it comes to an arts practice. Success is about whether you've completed something, you're happy with it. Again, you own that. No one else can tell you whether or not you're successful as an artist. You own that. You know what I mean? So I would, if you're about to come out, and also come and have a chat. Come and have a chat to the office. Our door, we have an open door policy. I mean, it locks, obviously.
Certain times.
But just give me a call and come down, and we can have a real kōrero about where to go from next. Maybe finding some people, some like-minded people to work with. A lot of art is collaborative as well, particularly if you're of a visual medium. Maybe you want to find musicians you want to work with to work on. It depends what your practice is. But don't take no for an answer. And feel the fear. All these terrible cliches that become great t-shirts, feel the fear and do it anyway. You've committed 3 years of your life?
Currently 2, but going to.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the biggest leap of faith and trust you could take in investing in yourself. So don't throw. I know a lot of people, and some people come out of studying and go, oh, I don't want to do it anymore, or it's not what, or they segue and they get into arts management, or maybe they don't want to be performative with their practice. They want to, you know. I'm very lucky that I enjoy doing both. You know what I mean? I'm probably more comfortable behind the camera than I am in front of it now. So just because I've done, you know what I mean? Like I like supporting other artists. I love creating a space to watch someone else shine. That's a real joy that I have. This isn't selfless work. I love doing what I do. I love seeing artists being surprised. And again, back to a few years ago with an artist in this room who I've literally just pointed out, which I didn't mean to, where they were like, oh, I'm not sure, I haven't done it. I was like, yeah, it's going to be great, you're going to do it, I'm going to put this in a tissue, and they were like, they don't like me. It's like, of course they like you. You know, we as artists are very emotional based, because that's where a lot of our mahi comes from, but sometimes you need to quiet the noise that is telling you can't do it. People don't like me. People are going to hate it. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You just have to trust that what you have to say is valid enough for you, that your audience will find you. You don't have to find your audience. We also live in an era where that audience is so much more accessible. So what I would do is you're going into your first year, I would create a platform for yourself to show your work. So you have a calling card when you are out in the real world trying to find work. You know what I mean? I would create a platform, a website for yourself that's just also far more accessible than it used to be. Create a space, a calling card where you can direct people and let the work speak for itself. This is an anomaly to sit and have to explain your practice, because quite often I will, people will say, oh, what genre of music? You know, I don't know. It's not my job. So that's someone else's job to pigeonhole me. You know what I mean? That's not my job. That's someone else's job. So once you get that mindset, and I think it's hard when you're studying as well, because it's all someone else is judging your work constantly. But when you get to a space where you're making work that you're happy with, that's really all that matters. Has that helped at all?
Yeah, no, very much.
Just as an add-on to that, over 10 years ago now, I did a Bachelor of Design and Visual Communication.
Oh.
So if you ever want to have a chat, let me know.
Thanks, thank you.
Always happy.
Love it. People. Find your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. As much as, and I think it's really important for a lot of visual artists too, whose work is quite solitary, to still find your tribe and to support each other, to be able to show your work to people and go, this is what I'm vibing at the moment, to be inspired by other people's work as well. So that's what I would say. I'd do exactly what you're doing now. Come to these sort of gatherings where you're going to meet, go to exhibitions, and also be brave. If there's an artist that you love, reach out to them. No artist doesn't like hearing that someone likes their work, first and foremostly, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So be brave and go, this really inspired me, is that awesome? Would you by any chance have a moment to have a coffee?
Yeah.
What's the worst that had to get over? I have to ask so many people for money to support, now you get over your own ego and my own insecurity, because the worst that can happen is they're going to say no, and then just move on. Like, it used to be crippling for me as an artist, because it's personal work. Yeah, you're showing people your pants, you kind of have to get over that. You have to get over that part of, which is all ego based, and I get it. But the worst someone can say is, no, I'm busy, or maybe they might find another time to do that. I just returned from Melbourne, where I was working with the National Drama School over there, and they'd reached out to me because they'd seen the films that I had directed for NIDS, which is National Youth Drama School. And I would have 7 days to devise, write, film and edit a film and show it on, and it used to be, before I took on this role, it used to be the hardest but most exhilarating. And also, because I'm a multidisciplinary, I'd also write an original score, because I'm an idiot. And I was lucky if the cast were talented, we'd write original songs. I was really wildly ambitious. They had seen some of this work and they invited me over. Had never worked for the drama school. It's the oldest drama school in Australia, which was really exciting. And again, had to go over and trust that they have a safe space, trust that the camera worked, because they arrived with nothing. It was just me and they wanted a film at the end of a week. Trust that the kids would trust me enough, and we made a really fantastic 18-minute film which showed them all off, and it was awesome. They want me to come back next year, but I don't know if I'll do a working holiday again.
Fair enough.
Missing holiday. Yeah, I think find your people and also create a platform for yourself. Don't wait for someone else to... my idea when I'm teaching screen acting or acting students is, if you want... I don't want to produce actors. I want to produce practitioners. I want to empower people to be brave enough to tell their own stories, because that's how myself and my friends who are successful have had a career, to be able to make your own work. If you're going to sit around and wait for your agent to call, it's just, so are dozens of others. And it's a similar, I've had young actors come up to me and say, I'm like, so what excites you about the practice? They're like, I want to be famous. I'm like, well, you should shoot someone. It's terrible. while teaching at Mass there, I was like, one of the students said you should. I was like, it was a joke. But it's probably the fastest way to get famous. You know, if you want to be famous, and also fame is not something we have any control over. It's something that someone else puts upon you. It's external, right? So if that's your goal, good luck with, you know, for any artist. It's just not real. It's not real. You know, and it's fleeting, and it also really uncomfortable for most artists as well. So yeah, I'd create a platform for yourself, and then you can build on that platform, and people will find your platform and share. Don't just ferret it away. Share it with people. Go into other. There's a lot of spaces online now where you can share your work with other people, get feedback, and find your tribe. So long. It was a big question. Yeah. Yes.
A bit of an odd question, but can you further contextualize how you think about trust? Like, is it, you talk about it as like a choice, sort of like an affirmative thing, but how would you think about it in terms of like fear, courage, otherness, identity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we live in a really interesting time in society where people are questioning things more than they probably ever have, which is great. And that's the way it should be, right? I think for a long time we had structure, and be it governmental or class related, that sort of where you were born is where you stayed. That was your lot. You didn't ask for more because that was just being greedy or grabby or whatever. Whereas I think now people are able to question their lot and want for more, and I think that comes down to, again, your gut, which I think Claire put beautifully in the piece you read. I don't think you can teach someone trust, but you can teach someone fear. You know, like kids have to babies have to trust you, right? It's inevitable. But babies aren't born with fear or prejudice or racism or classism. That's all stuff we teach as a society. So trust is innate. So it's in us. We're born with it, yeah? Things compound which stop us from trusting. So I think what we have to do as individuals is to really do the work within ourselves to go, okay, where did I stop trusting? Where did I start to question? You know, does that resonate with you?
Yeah.
You know, and I think because I think unfortunately a lot of societal, you know, we're told whether it's where we've grown up, the space that we've worked, the people that we've worked with, our interactions with people. Yeah, I think fear is, again, all those things that inhibit your trust, your ability to trust, are put upon us. So it's a matter of unpacking that and trying to rebuild your ability to be brave, because it's really, trust is about bravery, and again is foundational for humanity. We need it. It's what binds us together. It's a basis of relationships, whether they're social, personal, work-wise, you know. It's foundational. So if you have trouble, if you're incapable of trusting because of environmental things that have happened for you, you need to unpack that. And maybe you can't do that by yourself. Maybe you need to find someone to unpack that with. You know, someone that you trust to have a safe space where you can really vocalize those concerns. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I believe.
If you have further questions, I'm sure Vanessa will be happy to hang around for another 5, but we might have to wrap it up there so my team can start packing up all their gear as well. So
I was so worried I wouldn't have anything to say.
So our next event will be on the 30th of August. Here again. I think we've already booked in with Jules on the calendar.
Probably.
I think so. And our speaker will be Peter Mahoney, who is a SEO expert and web developer. So if that's your thing, then you'll be excited to hear from him. So have a lovely rest of your day and a lovely weekend, and I'll see all your lovely faces on the 30th, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm going to be loitering if you want to have a
Yeah.
cordial.